Muchas gracias. Buenas tardes a todos. En primer lugar, quiero agradecer la oportunidad de regresar al SPI después de tantos años. Mis hijos se graduaron de SPI. Anduve por estos corredores muchas veces y es agradable ver a Dayan Guevara, a Lida y a todas estas profesoras que ocuparon un puesto tan grande en mi corazón y todavía están allí, y para quienes guardo mi sincera gratitud. Eso por un lado. Por otro lado, estoy tan impresionada por la organización de todos ustedes, las estudiantes, que ya hubiera querido yo tener esta organización cuando me tocaba presentar a mí en Naciones Unidas mi country program. Pero bueno, me tocó esto. Y bueno disfrutarlo aquí. I was asked to prepare a paper about the multiple roles of a career woman. I suppose I have a good career, and I've been told I was very successful. I really don't know. But anyhow, I come from I'm Ecuadorian, and I come from a very small town, a typical Ecuadorian town in the coastal area, and I come from a very, 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 very conservative family, where to smoke was a sin, and you should be punished for that. I received always a Catholic education. I was sent to boarding school, with nuns, of course, and I lived there for a long time. I know that times has changed, but really, when I see my Indian friends in New York that arranged their marriage for their sons, I don't think that change has changed that much, or not for that many people. I knew I was uncomfortable. I knew I didn't want that life. And my question was always, how can I change this? How can I change the society? This is why today I enjoy the two girls that was exposing their desire for change. We never should be conforming with the lives that we have. We always should aim to change. And I always, when I was 15 years old, I always wanted to change. But how can you get from that small town, sort of Penonomé or Agua Dulce, to become professional? It was very hard. My parents were very close mine, so were my brothers. So how do you get a higher education? You have to please first conquer your family. A very conservative family, I repeat, that you cannot get out after 9 p.m., that you have to be at home, you have to learn how to cook, you have to learn how to sew, and you have to learn that. And then, of course, since I was sort of a tomboy, that I like to climb to the trees, I like to eat mangoes, but fresh mango from the trees. So my parents decided that I need to increase my chances of becoming a lady. So at that time, they were in fashion, the finishing schools. So I was sent to Switzerland. And in Switzerland, you are supposed to learn what they call la bonne éducation. Los buenos modales en español, the good manners, the good way of acting, how to set the table properly, which glass you use for wine, what glass, that type of thing. So I learned all of that. But I decided that besides learning all of that, I need to learn other things. So I decided to put my time into French and Italian. So I invested my time at night learning languages, because I knew that I had to put something on my head besides the good manners. So I couldn't fight with my family, and then I decided that I have to present to my parents a certificate that I have done something. So I went to Grenoble, and in Grenoble I took different certificates, so they gave me the passport to come back home. So home again, I decided that I needed to learn English, so I did a trick, and I went to university to learn English. And in that university, my parents didn't know. I took sociology courses, and without they knowing, I became a sociologist. They found out that I was a sociologist the day that I graduated, that I told my mom, I'm not going to be with the language people, I'm going to be with the sociologists. And my mom was scared of my dad. How am I going to handle this? And I said, I don't know, that's your husband. You deal with him. So when we were, they gave me a party because I had cum laude. I don't know if that's here, but that cum laude is like the second honors, not the first one, the second. Cum laude. And my father was very proud of that cum laude, you know. It was good. So in my party, I told my father that I had scholarship to go to Spain. And my father said, to España. Si España supiera sociología, España no estuviera como está. So, when he said that, Spain wouldn't be like it is. He said, you come home and we'll see what we do with you. So I came back home and I started to work as Chief of Rural Development, supervising 50 years old engineers. Was very tough. But the job was not as tough, but my family was tough. I was chairing a meeting, and my father should send the mail to tell me, Niña Nancy, dice don Ariosto que la están esperando para cenar. I translate. Niña Nancy, your father says they are waiting for you for dinner. Imagine how embarrassing that was in front of engineers. At that time, the Degremont, a Korean company, was building the water treatment plant. So I decided I have to run. I have to run from the place, I have to run from my family. So I got a scholarship from the Hebrew University, and I did a master's in public health. 1 year after, a friend of mine became Minister of Health in Ecuador, and I got a scholarship from Harvard University to do public health, public administration specialized in public health. And of course, I want to tell you that when I was in Albertus Magnus College in New Haven, Connecticut, as precaution, I took the GPRs, the graduate records examination, just in case. You know, I used to take everything as novelera. You know, in Spanish we say novelera. I was novelera of everything that they had. So I was part of every club, everything. They say los GPRs, let me say GPRs. So I took them. So it happens that I had good grades. So Harvard accepted me without any problem. Paf, so scholarship. So there I went. So and what happened, you know, everybody that gets a scholarship have to sign an agreement with the government. They have to pay it back. And I signed an agreement with the government. But what happened, when I came back with my Harvard degree, I didn't have a job. Then I walked into UNICEF, and the person that is sitting there right there, that today is my perfect husband, received me and gave me a job for UNICEF for 1 month. And it became 25 years. And here I started working in UNICEF. A fascinating career, no complaints, it was just great. I married my husband, who also was, as I say, the UNICEF office. And together we embarked in the career and the international career. And there you learn how to be a professional and a wife. Because my husband, as perfect as he is, he didn't know what the salt were. He doesn't know anything. And believe me, that's what it happens. And he's perfect. I couldn't be better married. And you learn at that time that you're chairing a meeting, but you also have to plan for an official dinner. And you have to keep this duality in your mind always, home and office. And you're managing your home and you're managing your office. So we went to Guatemala, afterwards in N'Djamena. N'Djamena is the capital of Chad. Chad, according to the World Bank, is the third poorest country in the world. But we had a wonderful time. However, there, really, woman is less than a thing. And there I have really problems with my husband. Because you cannot sit with man. You have to sit separate. And you cannot go to the toilet if your husband doesn't come to pick you up. And I used to send papers to my husband. I don't want to see you, I just want to go to the toilet. Because he has to come to pick me up. And that situation of the woman is horrible. And then I was a problem for the government, for the Chadian government, because I had representation status and I was a woman. And they didn't know what to do with me, where to put me. But that was not my problem. I used a veil, but I still was near the president. After that, we went to New York. Here is our office in New York headquarters. And in New York headquarters, and then of course, all the training in health went to the garbage. I became recruitment officer. And I became in human resources. I stayed in human resources for 12 years. In New York, two wonderful boys joined our lives. Here I met two boys. And then after being recruitment officer for West and Central Africa, I became chief of recruitment. So you can picture this scenario. Chief of recruitment in New York, with two children, with a house to run, with frequent working lunches, with donors, as you can imagine, UNICEF, of all the UN agencies, have donors. And donors are very important parts of our operation. Donors are always with us. They invite you to your lunch, they go, they move. And the most important part, you have to travel. And traveling, my husband used to say, my first boy, Chiqui Juan Carlos, who graduated from here, was 8 months old, and I was traveling to Nigeria. And I called, and Chiqui was like, Mom, he didn't talk. $100 for listening to that, oh, because he didn't talk. But to me, it was a consolation to hear that noise. So, they grew up, and the time came when they were ready to go into kindergarten. And going to kindergarten in New York City is the harder process that you can imagine in life. It's harder than to get into ISP. It's harder than to get into college. It's harder than to get into graduate school. They go through tests, and then at the same time I have rotation exercise. 120 staff members for different parts of the world calling you. I want this, I want that, I want that. Life was hard. Running the boys, running the rotation exercise, and running the house. And I couldn't take it anymore, I must say. And taking advantage of my position, knowing the vacancies, I knew that two posts were opening in Panama. So we were transferred to Panama. Panama for me was like my lotto. I won the lotto. But it implied moving the family. My boys didn't speak any word of Spanish. They were totally lost in the context of Latin America. They were totally New Yorkers. And I was totally used to work behind a desk, 200 donors, 200 staff members, and suddenly I was moved to a post in which image was the important thing. I was UNICEF head of office, and I had moments and moments. You are too young to know many of the fights that UNICEF had at that moment, but we have the law for adolescents, or law 40, like 40, we have many difficulties defending the cause of children. At that time, the disparity in Panama, according to the Gini coefficient, was 40%. It was the third country in the world with that disparity. Panama, the country with skyscrapers, the country that, according to the indicators, is more advanced in Latin America, had the highest discrepancy, the highest disparities. Therefore, UNICEF has to fight. UNICEF has to put that in the light, and I'm so happy hearing now that ISP is joining that cause. I congratulate you for joining that cause. But ISP was also demanding. ISP has its fairs, ISP has things, has soccer games, and my boys were involved in many things. So everything was demanding in Panama. Besides that, I was moving from an apartment this size to a big apartment. So everything was confusing, everything was another world. How do you handle it? What is your priority? Who is your priority? Everything and everybody. And here is my advice from the bottom of my heart. Time is vital. You have to manage time, because your children are important, your husband is important, your love is important, everything is important, and every minute counts. You cannot waste your time, and you are important. You cannot forget your exercises. You cannot forget your readings. You cannot forget yourself. You are important in life, and therefore you have to measure your time. Now, time has passed. I'm retired now. And looking back, these are my lesson learned. My lesson learned that I hope can be useful for somebody. On the conceptual side, a woman needs, above all, to be well trained. If you are well equipped on life, you have half of the battle gained. If she decides to have a companion, it's your decision to have a companion. This companion needs to be basically a friend. Common interest is a must. If she decides to have children, you need to be prepared to change subjects. Right now you may be changing diapers, but in 1 hour you need to try a meeting or with socioeconomic indicators, and then suit your mind. And then on the practical side, give as much as domestic help as you can. You need to have as many maids as you can. Even in New York, I have help. Live in a strategic place. In New York, we live 5 minutes walking distance home to the office. And also close to the school. Because believe me, your husband is not going to get the call when your child falls down. You are going to get the call. Even if they see you working in the same way that they see your husband, you are going to get the call. I'm going to tell you a story. Perhaps the teachers here don't know, but Nene, Carlos Andres, my second boy, went out from ISP to eat a hamburger here when he was in ISP. And they were having a test. They were with the son of the mayor of Panama. When they called me, because the police have arrested them during ISP in exam time. So, thank God I have a training with the police. So I said, well, I'm Nancy Andrade, UNICEF representative. I'm going to talk to the Comandante Troya. And so the police said, oh, God, you're the friend of Comandante Troya. He released them. And they came back to ISP to have their test. To tell you that they won't call their father, they will call you. So be prepared for the call. Bring home all the services possible. Forget it to go to the hairdresser. You won't have the time. Bring a hairdresser home to do everything, the nails, everything. And finally, this is so practical, but the children cost. Be conscious of the budget. You have to save every penny because the song costs. They want this university, that university, and all of that is money. And my last advice, which I always did, take short vacations. It's always good to rest even for 2 days. Take short vacations. It's very good. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure for me to be with you.